At the beginning of this year, I had a goal to start reading more. Pretty good New Year's resolution, right? Well, it is May, and I have not read a single book. If you're anything like me, you loved reading as a kid, but as an adult, there always seems to be so much stuff to do, like taxes and laundry, and these are perfectly valid, normal things to be spending your time on. But because I wasn't paying attention to my reading habit as I got older, I let it slip away. And that's a big part of my identity, to just let go. So I thought I'd set up a reading journal. However, when you go on YouTube or any other place you look up planner and notebook inspiration, you often find these beautiful, elaborate reading journals with like pasted in graphs and construction paper everywhere and like ripped book pages. And these are beautiful and artistic and completely unattainable for me. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through setting up a reading journal that has just the essentials in it. But first, we're going to talk about this week's sponsor, which is very appropriately Book of the Month. Book of the Month is a super popular and fast-growing online book service for readers, and they have been doing this for quite some time, so they kind of know their stuff. They've been around since 1926, and my partner's mom was actually telling me how when she was a kid, she loved Book of the Month, so it's a great way to connect with your treasured reading habit. Plus, they have new release hardcover fiction at a great price, and we all know the luxury of getting hardcover fiction for a good price. It's just As a viewer of this channel, you can get your first book for just $9.99 with the code FLOWERS. Hey guys, I was actually wrong. It's actually only $5 with the code FLOWERS. They vet hundreds of books every single month and give readers their choice from a curated selection of new and early release titles, so you can spend a lot more time reading and not researching. For example, this month I selected The Last Word by Taylor Adams, which is a psychological thriller, and I am a sucker for scary stuff, so I will be up all night reading this. There are plenty of other genres out there too, though, so I also selected a relationship drama in case this one gets a little too scary. Book of the Month has all kinds of options from new and emerging authors to help readers discover books that they love. Book of the Month is also totally risk-free. You can skip a month at any time and you will not be charged. So head on over to the link in my description box and get your first book for $9.99 with the code FLOWERS. Okay, I'm gonna need to get my reading journal set up before I can crack into these, so let's head over to the Flatlay. The first step in setting up a reading journal, I think, is to be figuring out what you want out of your reading journal. For me, one of the most important steps in habit building is recognizing that what gets measured gets managed. So once you start documenting and paying attention to something in your life, you begin to fit it all in, contemplate it, consider it, tweak it, otherwise manage it. So the main reason that I want a reading journal is to simply encourage myself to read more. The two are gonna work together for me, hopefully, because I love planning, I love journaling and documenting, and I want to start this habit of reading. So it's going to sort of be like a reward thing with my desire to stack on reading into my life. So what I'm using here in order to set up my reading journal is, first and foremost, the journal. This is a Moterm cover that's currently housing my Hobonichi Weeks, which is it's like the Mon Uncle one, the My Uncle Hobonichi Weeks, which if you guys are familiar with my channel, you'll know that I was using this as a personal planner at the beginning of the year, and it worked really well for that. I love the Hobonichi Weeks for that, but actually right now for my personal and work life, I am in my common planner, so I needed to repurpose this somehow. I wanted to keep using it, and this sort of came along as the perfect project. So I'm going to be sort of returning to the idea of using this as like a reading/media journal, and I'll walk you through how I'm going to use it in just a second. But the other some other supplies are some like very minimal stickers. It says Caffeine and Paper Co, but these are from Sweet Freckle Designs is her new name. The most important part, I have some like movies, books, TV stickers as well as laptop stickers, but these books ones are going to be the ones that I'm going to be using for the most part because they are little book icons, and I'm going to show you how I will use them in a second. Basically, this is going to be the main journal, and then for the setup today, we're going to be using a number of pens and a number of washi tapes. So I have pulled out these sort of loosely like gray, black, white washi tapes. These are all, with the exception of this like basic grid washi, these are all from the Washi Tape Shop. If you guys are interested, I do have a code for the Washi Tape Shop. It is down in the description box below. It's Rachel10. You get 10% off, and the Washi Tape Shop knows that we're friends, and that would really help me out. So if you do like these washi tapes or want to buy any washi tapes, please feel free to use my code. It's great. I also have this other washi tape from Paperminty Studios, which kind of has this like greenish color, and then the grid washi tape, which I think I just got off of Amazon. Washi Tape Shop also has grid washi tape as well. I'll be using a few pens. Generally, my MO for any type of planner or any type of setup that I have is to have a
basic writing pens. So I have 2 basic writing pens here. One is a Pilot Hi-Tec C ink style. One of you guys mentioned that you use the Coletto line from Pilot, and I really wanted to try their ink before I committed to buying the multi-pen, so I am trying it out with this pen. So this is just a basic writing pen, but I also have this fancy new multi-pen from the Uniball Jetstream line. It's just the same multi-pen that I've always had, but it has this nice new pen body, which has Spirited Away. It has No Face on it, and I absolutely love No Face, so I'm super excited to have that. So a couple basic writing pens, and then one pen for headers, which is this Tombow Fudenosuke. This is the soft tip, and I'll be using this to just write any large font that needs to be written. And then some kind of highlighter. So I'm going to be using the Tombow 312. It sort of has the same greenish grayish hue as this washi tape, which is why I picked it out. I'll probably not be using this very much, but it's just in case. And lastly, the last thing I'm going to be using is this adorable little thermal printer. It is the Puli print. I also have a code for this. If you guys want to check it out, it's down in the description. You get a sweet little discount on a Puli printer, and I'll show you how I'll be using this later in the video too, to print out like book covers and things like that. So between all of these supplies, this is going to be a very basic setup, and that is actually one of the goals, because my setup honestly has to be dirt easy to use. So for this initial setup, we're going to be using washi tapes. We're going to be using some fancy pens. For the day-to-day operations, it's going to be a writing utensil, probably a heading thing of some kind, and pictures. And that's like basically going to be it. Because if I don't have this be as dirt simple, as very easy as possible, I'm not going to use it. So it's going to be really simple. It's going to be really easy. And I want to be not too precious with the way that it works and just focus on getting the basics down. I'm just doing some simple stuff on the day-to-day basis, and everything else is going to be a bonus. So let's talk through how I'm planning on setting this up then. So let's move the supplies out of the way and get into the planner. Another main reason that I want to start a reading journal is because I want to know what I am putting in my brain. And how I started doing that, when I was using this as a personal planner, I started doing that by, in the back of the planner, I was just making, tracking sort of what I was consuming in my memo pages back here. So this is just a notebook section at the back of this planner. And it has, as you can see, I'm using these little stickers from Sweet Freckle Designs to note that it's a book. As you flip around, you can kind of see there's I have some audio stickers as well for audiobooks, things like that. But this is basically what it's going to look like, plus maybe the occasional like picture of a book cover from the Puli printer back here. It's going to be the metadata on the side, a tracker for how far I am through it, and some notes. I have pros and cons here for this one. Other ones I've just written like a little summary. Some of them I've given star ratings to, stuff like that. So it's going to be really simple, but it's just going to be a way to document what is going into my brain, a catalog of the information, stories, and perspectives that I'm putting into my mind. I also want to know what kind of authors, genres, and books I find myself gravitating towards so I can know more about myself and what I'm consuming. And having the metadata over here on the side is going to be a really easy way to highlight that and make sure that I'm noticing that, right? So I'm taking advantage of the natural structure in the Hobonichi Weeks, which sort of has this delineating line down the side here, to use this as a sidebar and this as a sort of main dumping ground for notes about a book. But I also really want a place to just sort of witness what I've done in a given day in terms of reading. So the notes in the back here are going to be the main bread and butter of the reading journal / media journal. And this is going to be where I'm documenting like my full thoughts on a book and keeping trackers for when I'm done reading them and things like that. But a lot of it is going to be done also in the weekly section. So in the weekly sections, I want to start documenting just like what I read and pages and like a brief summary of every day. And that's going to be happening on the dated portion over here on the side. It's just going to be a quick 1-sentence summary of what I consumed during the day. And then the right-hand side will be just sort of an as-needed, jot-as-go, quotes that stand out to me when I'm reading or consuming media, things like that. And this is going to be basically just like very messy and very current and very of the moment, because I want to be able to witness what I was doing on a particular day. And that's also why I chose a planner with a dated structure because it gives me that automatic place to start writing what I read about that day. There's very little setup I need to do on a daily basis. I'm not even going to be drawing, like I've used this planner before to draw like delineating lines and charts and stuff like that. I'm not even going to be doing that on this page. It's just going to be picking up my pen and writing down a summary of what I wrote. And if as I'm reading a quote comes up that I like, I'll write the quote down or something like that. That's going to be really, really it. There's very little setup I need to do on a day-to-day basis. But when I have the time, I'm going to come back in and create more elaborate summaries like we looked at in the back of the planner here. The last sort of big reason why I wanted a reading journal was to be able to remember what happened or main points or great quotes and stuff like that. I talked about writing out quotes here, but really the summaries and the main points is really what I'm most excited about because I want to be able to look back at what I read and really use it to inform my current and future life. This is why all journaling appeals to me, really, to have documentation of what I did and to be able to better gain insights to inform my growth in the future. And so I think just starting this practice, really basic as it is, really just documenting day-to-day stuff here, bigger picture stuff here, is going to be very effective. So if you're doing this along with me, you probably have good ideas of what you want out of a reading or media journal as well. So step 2, after you determine why you want a reading journal, is going to be determining the setup. So I've already shown you a little bit about what my setup is going to look like in terms of where these fancy yellow sticky notes are. I think they're super handy to mark out these things in a planner or notebook while you're still sort of figuring the pieces out. So I've placed yellow sticky notes where I think I'm going to document certain things. So I've already talked to you about how this is going to be what I read, pages, summary, things like that, quotes and notes as I go, and then the back, of course, is going to be those longer summaries and more elaborate book notes. But in between, I also have some stuff. On the monthlies, first of all, I'm largely going to ignore the yearly. I'm just not going to do that. I have tried and I've just not been successful. So I'm not going to even mess with that right now. On the monthlies, I kind of want to do a start end books sort of graph. I'm also going to be documenting when I start and end books in the section in the back as well. Oh my gosh, I just need to bookmark this page. So you see, I'm going to write started on November 30th, ended on December 4th or something like that. So I'll have this information in multiple places, but I really just want to see it on sort of this monthly view. I think would be nice to see it here too. And then maybe at the bottom, I'm going to do favorites. I'm not super sure. I'm not really paying attention to the monthly too hard, but in the back, I do have some other pages that I want to document out. So when I was using this as a personal planner, I had some habits that I was tracking here, and I set up a whole year's worth of habit trackers just because I believed in myself. And I only used it for a little bit of December and January and not the rest of the time. So I'm going to repurpose this to be just maybe a log of pages read or time spent reading. I haven't quite determined yet, but this part right here is going to be time spent or pages read. And then this part down here was going to be a weight tracker for me, but I nixed that as well because I'm not really using this anymore. So instead, I think I'm going to have just a cover printed out of my favorite book that I read that month, and that's going to continue on. So we're in May right now, which means that I'm going to start on this page, but I was just sort of documenting it out over here. And I think that's going to be good. I think it's going to look nice. And then I have that through November, and then this planner ends in November. On the next couple pages, I wanted to do a sort of books read tracker and a TBR. You'll notice I have TBR that I'm serious about. I always make to be read lists, and they are always miles and miles and miles long. So this is books that I have already purchased and I'm already going to read, or books that have already been sent by book of the month or something and I'm already going to read. And these are going to be books that I have read. So they're hopefully going to move from this list to this list. Maybe I'll reverse that actually. That makes more sense to have the TBR first and then the completed books second. And you can see I already have video ideas title up here, which is a title that I used when I was using this planner for something different, but obviously nothing made it onto this page, so I'm just going to cover that up with some washi tape. So once again, we're just trying to make this as simple as possible, and I'm going to really set up just the absolute basics that I need to see, because this is my very first reading journal, and if you're also setting up your very first reading journal, it's going to be more work than necessary. It's going to be harder for you if you're trying to set up a reading journal with a ton of things to track and do than if you're just setting up a reading journal with one or two things to track and do. So really, this is going to be the best space, the space that I live in day to day. This space and then the sort of notes at the back of the journal are going to be the spaces that I live in day to day. And then I will reference these sort of yearly spreads occasionally, right? Occasionally. When I need a new book, when I'm done with a book, that's when I'm gonna access these spreads. So let's get into the setup. Okay, so let's start with the monthly section since it's technically the first section. I'm gonna go ahead and put these sticky notes into May since we are starting in May. So I'm gonna put start end books and then we're gonna do favorites. Looking good, looking good. I also need something to tab this off. My monthly tab is way back here in January since that was the last time I actually used this planner. So I'm gonna move that over to May. Boom. Done. Also lately on my months, I've just been really vibing on writing like the letters of the month really big. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do May here, and that way I can just more easily scan. Also on May 1st, I started The Last Word, the Taylor Adams book that I got from Book of the Month. So I'm just going to go in with my pen and I'm gonna write started The Last Word. And then when I finish that, I'll write, finished. Oh my God, no, I made a mark. Nobody's perfect. Certainly not me. So once I finish this book, I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to write finished The Last Word, and I'll probably write a little line connecting them of some kind. And then at the end of the month, I'll tally up my favorites down here. Let's head into the weeks. I'm going to move to the first week in May, which is the first week I'm starting this journal. What I read, summary pages, etc., quotes, and notes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move my tab over to this page so that I know where, so I can find it easily. And I'm going to just title these pages with these two different headings. So instead of keeping the sticky notes here, I'm just going to take my highlighter and go ahead and highlight across this section and highlight across this section. And then I will take my heading pen and I'm going to write reading summary. Perfect. And then notes / quotes. Perfect. Let's just make this page like a little bit cuter since I have the opportunity to with some cute washi tape. Oh my gosh. All right, it's mistake number 2, but you know what? We're learning. And this is really all the decoration that a page like this would really ever get from me. Just because I am not like interested enough in making these pages look beautiful, I am more interested in making sure that they are functional for me. And then when we get into the back pages, this page is going to be, I'm going to go ahead and mark it off up here. This page is going to go ahead and be the pages that I read and the favorite book of the month. So I'm going to write those out with my headings. So this is going to be fave, and then this is going to be pages. So I'm just going to write a little line there. And then with my heading, again, fave, pages. Perfect. And that's going to be how that goes. Really happy I found a way to repurpose this section because I was kind of like upset that I had done all that work for nothing. Okay, we're at the TBR that I'm serious about now. First things first, I need to cover up the video ideas. I think I'm going to do that with some Washi Tape Shop washi. I chose this script washi that I have that's sort of, it'll pretty much cover it up because I think it would look cute with the sort of motif of, words and script and books and stuff like that. So with Washi Tape Shop washi, it actually has like a little bit of a backing here, which makes it super easy to just like cut the amount that you need. And not have to rip. Like I was struggling ripping the Paper Minty Studios washi tape earlier, but not with the Washi Tape washi. Okay, we're gonna cut what we need, and I'm gonna go ahead and like just paste it down. That is probably good enough. Oops. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Okay. And I'm gonna go ahead and just cut along this line, cut the excess off. Perfect. Handled. You can still kind of see video ideas through there, so I think I'm going to layer on top of it. Maybe I'll just layer one of these. That kind of looks cute. No, I'm just going to do some grid washi tape on top of it and add like a little bit of an extra layer that way. Boom. Cool. That's really all that I need. Maybe I'll paste some of this washi tape down here just so it looks kind of like consistent. Yeah, I like that. If you guys are interested in seeing some more like tips that I have about decorating your planner and making it look kind of consistent without, the fuss of decorating it all the time, I do have a video that I put up recently called, I think it's called Lazy Girl Planner Hacks. Obviously, we're all aware that the term lazy is sort of, if you're just having a bad day or you just need some rest or you're just like not feeling decorating, you're not lazy, okay? You're just like me and you just don't want to deal with the fuss. But anyways, that's what the video is called. I'll leave it linked in the cards and yeah, check it out. That looks pretty good. Now I'm going to do my handy dandy. Actually, I kind of hate that. Paperminty Studios washi instead? I think so. Yeah. Oh, that's so cute. There we go. Let's add like a little bit right here too. There we go. Nice. Looks nice. So this is going to be for my TBR. So I'm going to go ahead and write to be read in that font. Perfect. So basically here I want to create a chart of a few different like facets of this to be read. So I want to create a chart of like, you know, what is the title, first of all, title of the book. I want to have a reading tracker. So I want to say like reading ? And then I also want to know why I am reading it. Yeah, so I want to know title, author, why, and reading. So these four things are going to be what's on my to be read list because these are like the important things that I need to know once I'm reading a book. On my next page, which is my books read, I'm going to have like name, how I consume the book, the author, some other stats, a star rating, etc. But I want to have the title, I want to know the author, obviously, and then I want to know why I'm reading it because if it's on this to be read, I wrote on the sticky note, you guys saw the sticky note, to be read that I'm serious about. I want to know why I picked it up. So sometimes this may be like recommended by a friend, or it may relate to a goal because I want to read more fiction, because I want to incorporate this book somehow on the channel, stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and draw out an example for you guys now. So here I'm going to write the last word, right? And then here I'm going to write the author of the last word, which is Taylor Adams. And then why do I want to read this? Because I want to read more fiction. So read more fiction. It's a fiction book. And then am I reading it? Yes, I have started reading it. So I'm going to push check off started reading it. Once I complete this book, I will move it to the books read, right? But when I'm scanning for something new to read, I'm first going to look at these, like, am I reading it already? Yes. Column, so that I know for sure, like, if I've already started a book. And then let's go over to the next page, the books read spread, which is going to have a little bit more information. So I'm going to start at the top with the title. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some washi tape along the top and bottom here. And I'm going to do a slightly different washi tape than this. I'm going to go ahead and do this script, which I think is quite cool looking. I'll do a whole strip here and then like a half strip up here I think would look nice. So let's cut to size. It's at this point I admit to you guys that I'm really not the best at cutting around page corners when it comes to laying down washi tape. But you know what? That's why I don't do it very often. Know your strengths, as I always say. And then this says books read. Perfect. And now here we're also going to do title, author, mode, and a star. We're going to do a star rating as well. I did kind of write mode a little bit too far away. Because like if I lay down my star rating, yeah, this will be fine. I'll just do it like this. Cool. And then 2 below. Boom. So that can be the star rating, what that looks like. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect. You know, I'm just truly making it up as I go along. So mode is going to be things like, you know, did I read it in paperback? Was it an audio book? That sort of thing. But besides that, it's title, author, and a star rating for books read. Again, nothing too complicated, no added dates in there, just the basics so that when I scan this, I can see sort of what I was reading. And if I ever want to elaborate on either of these, I can rewrite it over here on the second page, or I can just flip to a new page and start anew. For the back section, I'm going to go ahead and start this part over here, so sort of the way that I've done it before. Like here, December with a line, and then the books that I've read. I'm going to do that here. So I'm going to write May. Get a new pen. We're going to have a little delineating line here. It's going to be May 2023. And then this is where it gets fancy. So I'm going to print out, using my Pulley printer, I'm going to print out a picture of the cover. And I'm going to just paste that right here. We're going to try to see if I can get it to be the right size. So I'm opening the Pulley print app and I'm just choosing a photo. So the Pulley printer only prints in black and white. So I'm just going to put it in black and white. It looks pretty good. Okay, so with my little Pulley printer, I went ahead and printed out the cover of the Taylor Adams book that I'm going to be reading, and I'm just going to stick it right there. And we're going to go ahead and write the title. I'm going to write The Last Word. Again, doesn't have to look super, super neat. I'm going to make a little box to put my progress for how far the way through it I am. And this is something that I just eyeball. Like, I generally have an idea of like whether I'm halfway through, a quarter of the way through, however the way through, based on like the book that I'm holding in my hand. I'm just creating this box. I'm going to go ahead and do like a line kind of like 50% of the way through it, a quarter of the way through it. Those are deeply uneven, 25%, 50%, 75%, 100%. And we're going to have a little thing here that says started May 1. And then when I finish it, I'll have another little thing over here that says like finished whenever. And on the side, I'm going to write Taylor Adams print. And this is where I pull out my fun little book stickers. Fun little book stickers. Which actually right now, these are just like planner stickers that I'm using. These are not the book stickers because I ran out of book stickers. So we're just going to like put a planner sticker and pretend like it's a book sticker because I'm still waiting for myself to restock. And then this is left for notes. And eventually I'll come back here and I will give the book a star rating, which I'll probably just paste in right there. And it will be the latest entry in my beautiful book journal.
All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you had a good time. If you make a reading journal after this video, go ahead and tag me on Instagram. I'd love to see what you create. Also, let me know down in the comments what you guys thought. I'd love to talk to you down there. And thank you again to Book of the Month for sponsoring this video. If you guys want to keep hanging out with me, there will be another video over here with a similar vibe right next to my face. Or like I said, you can see me on Instagram. I'm at Rachel in Theory over there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys so much. And I'll see you in the next one.